When dawn seems distant and the nights whisper that it is too late, do you ever wonder whether your story can bloom again? You stand in the hush before sunrise, where yesterday's disappointments still cling like dew. Yet even this quiet ache feels like an invitation to breathe. In that fragile stillness, the God who shapes galaxies and men's broken hearts waits as your unfailing refuge, offering hope where regret once ruled. You can lay every plan, every unfinished dream at his feet, and listen as his boundless grace seeps into the cracks of your weariness, restoring hidden strength that will move you forward toward radiant renewal. So Isaiah 4:3-9-90, these words announce possibility where you feared dead ends, declaring that divine creativity outpaces every human deadline. Will you entrust the weight of yesterday and the longing of today to the one who awakens beginnings? Now, as your heart grows still, we step into the first light of this prayer. You wake before the alarm, half expecting only the chill of regret. Yet a thin ribbon of rose glows along the horizon. Night has tried to convince you that missed chances are set in stone, but the first birds insist otherwise, singing possibilities into the grey. You feel the pulse in your chest quicken, not with dread, but with a curiosity you have not tasted in years. That stirring, faint and steady, is awakening hope, God's gentle nudge that the story is not over. You remember the countless dawns you ignored while chasing yesterday, the plans you cancelled because the calendar seemed unforgiving, the small voice of desire you silenced to protect yourself from disappointment. Even now, memories of detours press like shadows at your back, telling you to settle for survival. Yet the sky keeps brightening, and a breeze slips through the window, carrying the scent of rain-washed earth, as if creation itself says, "Look, newness is native to the morning." You inhale deeply, realizing that each breath is evidence of mercy still at work. Pause and listen. Beneath noise, beneath fear, there is a seed of trust. You may have buried it under layers of self-blame, but the gardener of souls never forgets where he plants. His kindness reaches into the ground of your fatigue and coaxes that seed to crack open. Nothing flashy, just a patient warmth like sunlight pressing through soil. Soon the smallest root searches for water, proof that life is reaching for you even when you feel motionless. Lamentations 3:9-2-2-38. Divine compassion is timed to sunrise, not to your sense of worthiness. Every morning carries a fresh supply, precisely calibrated to your need. Consider what hope is asking of you. Not a grand gesture, but a willingness to notice. Notice how the darkness thins. Notice how your lungs expand without instruction. Notice the memory that resurfaces, an old dream of study, of kindness, of art, nudging you to pick it up again. Hope often begins as noticing, and noticing is the first act of faith. You need not prove anything, you simply witness what God is already unveiling. Now, envision stepping onto a shoreline at low tide. The sand is damp and smooth, unmarked by footprints. Each gentle wave erases the last trace of hesitation, offering a fresh canvas. You walk along that shore with the sunrise at your side, hearing the quiet promise, begin with this step. In that moment, you realize that time lost is not a verdict, but a variable. In God's arithmetic, late can still become on time. So whisper, "I am willing." Let that phrase echo through every chamber of your heart. Willing to hope once more, willing to awaken to mercy, willing to risk the tenderness of beginnings. As the sun lifts fully free of the horizon, its warm gold resting on your skin, you recognize the simple truth. Dawn exists to tell your soul that fresh starts are woven into the fabric of creation. And you are included in that declaration. You feel the sun inch higher, yet along your spine clings a chill, the lingering memory of choices you would undo if time allowed. Regret, like ivy, coils around your thoughts, whispering that yesterday's missteps have disqualified you from today's promise. But notice the breeze brushing your face. It moves freely, unbound by the paths it followed a moment ago. You, too, can surrender the looping replay of failures and let grace carry them beyond reach. Visualize yourself standing beside a mountain stream. Each stone beneath the surface is smooth because centuries of water have passed over it, wearing away rough edges without condemnation. Dip your hands into that current. Feel how cold clarity surrounds your fingers. Picture every accusation you have rehearsed, words spoken too sharply, years spent in apathy, opportunities abandoned, resting on your palms. Now open your grip. The flow accepts each fragment, sweeping them downstream where you cannot chase them back. You watch ripples widen, then settle, and with them your heartbeat steadies. Psalm 103:12. Divine forgiveness sets failure at an infinite distance, rendering it unrecoverable. Mercy positions you at the threshold of fresh purpose. Consider how regret distorts vision. When you clutch it, you see only detours. Release it, and horizons reappear. You might fear that letting go trivializes harm done, yet true release begins with acknowledgement, not denial. Bring every honest detail into the gentle light of dawn. God meets truth with tenderness, not scorn. His gaze does not flinch at confession. Instead, he folds it into a larger narrative of redemption. Imagine writing your regrets on parchment and placing the scroll at the foot of an ancient oak. Roots burrow deep, branches reach high, yet the tree does not judge the parchment. It simply stands witness as wind lifts the page away. In similar fashion, your Maker gathers what you surrender and transforms it into wisdom, fertilizer for tomorrow's fruit. Your task is not to engineer that transformation. Your task is to yield the paper. Hear the low hum of traffic beginning on distant streets. Every engine, every footstep implies motion forward. You have permission to join that movement. The rear-view mirror is small for a reason. You glance, you learn, then focus on the road unfolding. Whisper now, I release what no longer serves. Let the phrase drift like incense through your chest cavity, dislodging hidden shame. Feel shoulders loosen, jaw unclamp, lungs fill. Turn your attention to the sky. Clouds drift eastward, and although they carry remnants of night's darkness, sunlight disperses them bit by bit. So it is with memory. Shadowed outlines remain, yet illumination prevents them from eclipsing the present. Each second you choose release, you join heaven's rhythm of perpetual renewal. Trust that what was lost can still be woven into beauty. Threads of mistake and triumph together compose resilience. You do not erase the past. You reorient it, anchoring it to forgiveness rather than to self-reproach. As the morning warms your skin, recognize that you stand lighter, more buoyant, because you dare to unclasp your grip. Regret has floated downstream. What remains is space for creativity, compassion, and courage to emerge. You stand on the cusp of morning like a traveler reaching a shore where the sea glimmers pale gold and waves slide in with a hush that seems to call your name. You hesitate, toes at the edge of surf, wondering whether kindness this vast could truly be for you. Then a cresting swell breaks, brushing your ankles with cool softness, and you feel surprise chase away suspicion. The water does not measure merit. It simply arrives again and again with rhythmic generosity. That is grace, a movement older than your failures, deeper than explanations, bent on reaching you. Breathe in the salty tang. Feel how each inhalation calms the inner courtroom where you have argued your own case too long. You sense the judge has already issued a full pardon, stamping every page, beloved, in ink that will not fade. The verdict frees you to unclench memories you once hid behind justifications, letting them drift like driftwood into the forgiving tide. Within that release, you discover space to dream unguarded, as if the horizon itself invites your imagination to wander. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Power blooms within acknowledged weakness. Divine sufficiency fills the gaps you feared disqualified your purpose. Picture sunbeams spearing through clouds and illuminating the water around your calves. Shimmering flecks dance on your skin, reminding you that grace does not merely cleanse, it adorns. You can lift your palms, cupped like empty shells, and allow liquid brilliance to pool there. As droplets spill between your fingers, they trace bright paths down your wrists, marking you with evidence that mercy lingers in places once chafed by self-reproach. Every scar becomes a channel where radiance may flow. Now walk a few steps deeper. With each stride, resistance lessens, buoyancy rises, heaviness lifts. You realize the sea bears weight you were never meant to carry. Burdens slip from shoulders and sink out of sight. You need not chase them. Currents of compassion ferry them far beyond morning's rim. Turning your face skyward, you glimpse gulls wheeling freely, creatures unburdened by yesterday's storms, mirroring the lightness now unfolding in your chest. Grace also equips. As water laps higher, you sense strength forming within muscles renewed by its cool embrace. Weakness once felt final, yet here in surrender you find vigor. It is not the brittle adrenaline of striving, but the steady vitality of belonging. You belong to the one who makes all things new, and therefore possibility belongs to you as well. Whisper thanks. Let gratitude ripple outward, first through mind, then body, then the unseen atmosphere around you. Gratitude transforms perception. Cliffs no longer loom as obstacles, but stand as vantage points from which sunsets will someday stun you with color. Even the jagged rocks that once cut your feet become reminders of where grace has delivered you. As you wade back towards sand, droplets sparkle on your legs like scattered gems. They testify that you have entered and emerged, soaked yet unshackled. Carry this cool remembrance into the hours ahead. Whenever shame returns, recall the tide's insistence. Whenever pride rises, remember the depth that eclipses self-sufficiency. You have learned to embrace grace, and grace, in turn, will continue embracing you. Unceasing, unearned, utterly yours with every dawn. You return from the shoreline, feet drying in warm sand, and a hush settles inside you like the quiet between heartbeats. Now that regret has washed away and grace clings like dew on your skin. You sense a pulse of power awakening beneath each rib. It arrives softly at first, steady inhalations filling empty chambers, yet each breath expands deeper than the one before, stretching lungs that once collapsed beneath anxiety. You look toward the rising sun. Its widening arc resembles a golden shield lifted over the day, promising the vigor you feared forfeiting. Feel the ground beneath your soles firm, temperate, willing to bear your weight no matter how uneven your steps. Strength rarely storms in like thunder. It accumulates like dawn, layering light upon light until darkness thins to gauze. Your muscles remember forgotten rhythms, the stride of purpose, the lift of compassion, the reach of creativity. Each remembrance adds sinew to resolve. You are not rehearsing yesterday's exhaustion. You are rehearsing possibility, rehearsing endurance, rehearsing life. So Isaiah 4:31, those who hope in the Lord discover airborne resilience, lifted on unseen currents. They walk without fainting and run without collapse. Picture yourself standing at the base of a cedar, trunk massive, bark weather etched with decades of storm. You place a hand on that living pillar and feel sap coursing within, slow, steady, unstoppable. Likewise, divine strength rises through your own frame, hidden yet undeniable, persistent even when unnoticed. It does not depend on last night's sleep or yesterday's applause. Its source flows from a reservoir beyond depletion. Let your mind scan the coming hours, meetings, chores, conversations that once loomed like cliffs. Instead of bracing in dread, you breathe again and sense internal fibers tightening into joyful readiness. You carry the momentum of morning tide, the steadfastness of cedar rings, the updraft promised to soaring wings. Strength is no longer a distant concept, but a present companion, woven into muscle memory and heartbeat cadence. Consider the sparrow darting overhead. Its flight appears effortless, yet beneath feathers beat wings uniquely crafted for endurance. So, too, your talents, once dismissed as inadequate, are precisely fitted to today's path. Unpack them, stretch them, deploy them. Trust that the Creator who set constellations spinning has calibrated your capacity for this very chapter. You may encounter resistance, a colleague's critique, a lingering ache in joints, an unexpected delay. When obstacles rise, recall the cedar's patience. Winds bend branches, but do not uproot roots anchored deep. Invite the Spirit to deepen your anchorage in truth, in courage, in love. There, resilience grows thicker each time gusts arrive. Speak aloud, even if whisper soft. I receive strength. Let syllables resonate through throat and spine, aligning posture with conviction. Words shape reality. Confession of power summons awareness of power. Feel shoulders square, gaze lift, heart steady. This is not bravado. It is agreement with a gift already given. As sunlight now floods the horizon, shadows shorten. Your silhouette stands clear, defined by unwavering light rather than by doubt's distortion. Carry this clarity with you. Hold half a moment before you step forward and sense vitality hum from soles to crown, a gentle current eager to propel you. Then move, one deliberate pace into the waiting world, muscles fueled by mercy, mind anchored in promise, spirit buoyed by endless supply. You stand at the threshold where sand gives way to sun-warmed path, heart thrumming with new vigor. Yet a thin veil of hesitation lingers like mist above grass. Questions crowd your mind. What if momentum falters? What if doors stay shut? Still, morning thrushes trill overhead, their notes cascading as if insisting that movement itself is worship. You realize progress need not be perfect. It need only be honest. Lift one foot, feel muscles tighten, ankle align, soul meet earth, and discover that courage often announces itself through the simple act of shifting weight. Down the lane, dew, sparkled leaves quiver in a hush of expectancy. Each glimmer catches light, turning ordinary foliage into jeweled banners guiding your way. You recall times you attempted this stride before. Starts sabotaged by comparison, steps stalled by the belief that others began sooner and would therefore finish first. Yet pathways are not races, they are stories. Yours, unique, unfolding, handcrafted, invites the pace that protects your soul while honoring your purpose. You learn to measure progress not in miles, but in breaths surrendered to guidance. Lee Psalm 37 and 23, every deliberate footfall rests within divine choreography. Unseen hands adjust terrain, steadying you when gravel shifts beneath resolve. Ahead rises a footbridge arching over a brook. Boards creak beneath you, echoing uncertainty. But the span holds firm. This crossing mirrors transition, leaving the familiar shore of contemplation, reaching for fields of application. Pause at the apex, glance backward with gentleness, seeing not failure but formation. Then look forward. Sunbeams slice through overhanging branches, illuminating a trail that curves just out of sight. You cannot preview every bend, yet you can trust the cartographer who charts each curve with goodness. Imagine carrying a lantern fueled by gratitude, with every thanks, spoken silently for beating heart, for fresh air, for whispered promise. The flame brightens, shedding clarity on immediate ground. You may not control horizon distance, but you steward illumination for the next few yards. That is enough. Fireflies appear at your periphery, tiny companions echoing your light, reminding you community will emerge as you walk. Even the solitary trek is seeded with shared encouragement waiting to be discovered. Consider the tools you have dismissed. A sketchbook stored at the back of a drawer, a language half learned, a kindness you meant to extend. Gather them like stones for a sling. Small pieces become mighty when aimed by purpose. Resolve to send one email, plant one seed, take one class, offer one apology. Action transforms possibility into testimony. Procrastination loses power the instant motion begins. You approach a meadow where tall grasses sway in soft gold ribbons. With each step, stalks part and spring back, marking your passage only briefly before they resume their dance. So your journey will change landscapes without scarring them. You tread lightly, yet every footprint carries fragrance of hope. Breathing deeply, you sense earlier strength crystallize into momentum, propelling you not by urgency but by invitation. You whisper, "Guide my stride," and feel the gentle tug of divine pacing, neither rushed nor reluctant, drawing you through the waving field toward opportunities you cannot yet name. As morning sun clears treetops, shadows shorten, and the path widens. You recognize that beginning again is less about reclaiming lost time and more about aligning with eternal timing. Feet steady, lantern bright. Spirit poised, you step forward, confident not in flawless execution, but in faithful direction. Momentum builds beneath you like a river current, and you glide with it, trusting that every stone and stream ahead has already been seen, softened, and sanctified for your arrival. You crest the final rise of the meadow, as the sun crowns the horizon in full brilliance, and for a beat you simply stand, bathed in gold, marveling that light now occupies every space where night once whispered defeat. The air feels freshly woven, each filament of breeze carrying the faint hum of possibility. You stretch, vertebrae uncoiling like saplings towards sky, and realize that the strength received earlier has ripened into quiet confidence. Nothing in this moment demands perfection. It only invites presence. Your pulse aligns with birdsong steady and buoyant, echoing a truth long planted, but newly sprouted. Beginnings are not bound to calendar pages. They are sown in yielded hearts. Survey the day ahead. Roads shimmer beyond the meadow's edge, looping through neighborhoods, offices, classrooms, kitchens. Ordinary arenas now charged with extraordinary purpose. You do not need to conquer every mile before dusk. You need only inhabit each minute with attentive faithfulness. Renewal is not a finish line. It is an unfolding rhythm, a series of yeses to grace discovered in real time. Even tasks that once felt mundane gleam with rescued meaning. Spreadsheets become avenues for stewardship. Dishes turn into moments of gratitude. Conversations morph into seeds of encouragement. Recall how regret sank downstream, how grace embraced you like tide, how strength fused with sinew, how the first courageous step carried you across a bridge of doubt. Each stage paved the way for this sunrise clarity. Though questions about tomorrow remain, they no longer paralyze. They invite collaboration with the one who already inhabits every hour to come. You recognize that renewal is more than personal restoration. It is partnership, your willingness interwoven with divine creativity to bless the world you touch. Listen, a distant city bell strikes the hour, rippling through crisp air as if announcing a commissioning. You respond by lifting your palms, not in pleading, but in readiness. Fingertips warming in sunlight that seems to say, "Carry this radiance." You envision your hands becoming lanterns, gestures of compassion, words of truth, quiet prayers for strangers, each act dispersing shadows in corners you may never see. Renewal that stops at self is incomplete. True revival flows outward, irrigating deserts beyond your view. Feel the subtle rhythm beneath your soles, the earth's slow rotation. Rivers coursing underground, roots drinking deeply. You join that cadence, stepping forward with measured peace. Feet press grass, grass rises again. Nothing bruised, everything breathing. You realize resilience is not the absence of pressure, but the presence of elasticity. The ability to bend and rebound, because love undergirds every fiber of your being. As morning advances, clouds drift like soft sails across cerulean canvas, reminding you that even the sky is in motion, perpetually renewed. You inhale once more, pocket the scene in memory's gallery, and let a smile form, unforced, wholehearted. Whisper a final affirmation. Today lives brand new. And so do I. The words hover in sunlight, then dissolve into silent agreement with heaven's design. Stepping onto the path toward daily life, you carry dawn within, ready to ignite hope wherever your shadow falls. You have awakened, released, embraced, received, and stepped forward. Now welcome this new day with unhurried wonder. Notice how light lingers on leaves, how breath settles in chest, how opportunities wait like unopened letters. Trust that every encounter, brief or lasting, can host divine kindness through you. Walk gently, speak truthfully, listen deeply, Smile freely. The failures behind you are compost. The grace within you is seed. Scatter it generously. As you pause, let stillness seal these intentions and carry sacred quiet into the bustle ahead.